What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and I'm finally back from my Mexico trip. I've been out for about like 5 days, so pretty much if there hasn't been a lot of engagement on the previous videos, that's kind of why they were just kind of auto uploads. But before we jump into it, obviously we're taking a look at the Mafex 2099 that just dropped. But before we jump into that, I'd just like to say thank you so much for the continued support, and just overall it's been really fun. Love having conversations with you guys. And also, during my stay in Mexico, we did hit over 500 subscribers. So to all of you guys who have subscribed and continue to support, I see all of you guys. I always read comments. Sometimes I don't always respond, but I do read them. So thank you very much for supporting the channel, as I probably wouldn't even have kept going making videos if it weren't for you guys. So thank you very much. And without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, so as usual, we're gonna jump into accessories. So this is one of the figures, especially from Mafex, that I think has like some of the best accessories in my opinion. And I think it, for me personally, the accessories are what saves it. And I'll go into that here in a second, but let's cover them. So first, he does come with 3 different pieces, one on him and then 2 separate ones. So this one is like more of like an actual, square cape style, kind of classic cape style right there. And then he does come with one that has 2. And then while I'm on the subject, I really like the way that they finished these. It's like a clear, almost like blue, like gray kind of color, and it just like photographs amazingly well, and then also just looks amazing, like just in general. So I just wanted to kind of annotate that. But he does come with 3 of those, and then he does come with these as well, which are like you can plug them into the back of his bicep and or on his traps. Sorry, forgot anatomy. Whatever. Behind his biceps, um, you can plug these in. And then he's got 2 more of those, and these are like a little bit bigger. So in case whatever it is that you're photographing or however you want to display it, you can go ahead and choose that. And then probably my personal favorite of his like alternate accessories. I'm just a kind of neutral, like leave it as it is kind of guy, but this is done pretty well. Like the one thing I'll say is, for one, the skin tone is like, I know in the comic books he kind of looks more Irish than Mexican, but just because of the way we saw him on and Into the Spider-Verse, and kind of, he is Irish and Mexican, I feel like he should have a little bit more of an olive, brown color, but that's just kind of more of a personal preference. But it is really well done. You can't really see, like, try to zoom in as much as possible. Hopefully it focuses up. But it doesn't have that much detail in it, but it is, the detail that it does have is really nice. The paint could be a little bit better on mine, but overall I think it's a really nice accessory. And it's unique. And I believe he did come with one of these also. The Mesco one did, but it also came with a fully unmasked. So I wish they would have gave us that as well, but hey, it is what it is. And then this is his default, which this one is like a little bit, come on, focusing. There you go. Is a little bit more, I would say like calm, just kind of like neutral, soft looking. And then on him, obviously, it's Miguel O'Hara, and like I said, because of Across the Spider-Verse, and then kind of what I've seen in the comics, he's usually more angry than the original Spider-Man. So I gotta have him with the more angry looking eyes and stuff. And then that's the other flying piece. And then real quick, this one's going a little bit too long, is he comes with kind of some open, kind of jumping through the air hands, or whatever you want to imagine those. Comes with 2 relaxed hands. And then they do all have, like, I'm trying to show you guys as much of the detail that it's different, because it is different, and I'll get into that in the next segment. But they do have those like little spikes on them for all the hands that aren't fists. He's got those, which are like wall grabbing hands. And then he comes with like some karate type fists, or like soaring through the air, fists, hands. And then for the last ones, these are probably my favorite because they're the most dynamic. But he's got some, like, they're pretty similar. Did I already go over them? No. Yeah, so they're slightly different, but almost the same. These are a little bit more curled, and then he does come with webs as well, but I'm sure you guys have seen those, and they're kind of a little lackluster in my opinion. But 2 web grabbing hands, and then he comes with the magnetic set, which is the wall grabbing hands, and there you go. But without further ado, let's move on. Okay, and real quick, just before we jump into the articulation and everything, just wanted to show. So basically, the best way to take this off is just grab it from both ends, kind of wiggle it out, and then you go ahead and swap it. And then, like I said, this one's my personal favorite. I wouldn't push on those wings just because, it is like almost $100 figure, and I wouldn't want to break it, so I would recommend not doing that. But so I just, kind of while we're moving through the joints here, and then, just so you guys can see, it's definitely an improvement. It is a definite improvement on the other Spider-Man figures, because I don't know, maybe because I sold it, I don't have it here side by side, but like I don't think any of the other Spider-Mans that are based on this body can look up that high. Like, I remember the other ones being able to look about like that much, but this one can like pretty much look all the way straight forward. Like, he's looking beyond his back. Like, his eyes, if you're looking at it, they're going like that. So pretty crazy for the head. And then if you do, you can move the joint in there to look more down, but he's still looking down pretty good even without doing that. And then also another huge improvement that I noticed right off the bat is the head. I mean, like, he's touching it. He's like pretty much almost touching his shoulder right there. Like, I don't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I don't remember the other Spider-Man having this amount of range. Like, I think it's still better than like pretty much every single Marvel Legend out there, but I don't remember it having this level of range, which is like it's just insane. The amount of poses that you can get with this guy are insane. And then for the shoulders going forward, there's not going to be any issues. And then, like I said, I think it's just like overall an improvement, like not a crazy amount, but it's there. It's definitely an improvement. As far as like the tolerances and stuff like that, just keep in mind that if you're gonna pose the butterfly joint going back, like, I would grab on to the back plate and then just do it to the max, because if you don't, you're gonna push it and then it's gonna create that little bit of gappage right there. So I would just be a little bit careful with that when it comes to posing. But you guys kind of know what you're getting into as far as like the articulation and stuff. Bicep swivel, double joints, ball hinge on the fist. And then this is another one that I think improved as far as like the rocker going side to side. Again, I wish I had the other one too. The only other one I have is the Ben Riley one, but I don't feel like dragging out the video too long. So let me know. I mean, I could be wrong. Like I said, as far as I can tell, it's improved. Even like I think I would only call it like a 10%, 15% improvement, but hey, it's still an improvement. So side to side, really good. Going back, going forward, really good. And then this one has a drop downs as well. And then another improvement is this belt piece is really, really soft and really high quality. So I pretty much had this guy with the leg up for like a day, because I've had this guy for like 2 days already. I had him in that pose since yesterday, and there's like absolutely no signs of wrinkling or any damage to the piece, and it's a lot softer than the other one. So this one, you could pretty much make him touch, you're getting past. I remember people saying like, oh, this one on the Maximum Spider-Man is better, but it's like, dude, he's not doing that. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty much like it's about as good as it's gonna get. Going back, it's definitely not as much, even with the softer like hip piece, but it's still really good. And then I always freaking struggle with this drop down. Then the thigh swivel, again, I think it's improved. Just overall, I think everything is improved on this guy from everything else. Just because I hope it's like one of the last Spider-Man figures we get on this body. Like, it's a great body, and kind of here as I finish going through the articulation, one of the things that, like, when this figure was first announced, I was like an avid hater. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was very displeased just because, like, I know some people say that it's like supposed to be based on certain art, and when I looked into it, it does look like said art that people are saying it's based off of. But even on the package of the figure, he has the more buff, like a little bit more athletic build than this kind of, slimmer, kind of almost like, I don't even know what to call it. It's more lanky. You know what I mean? And also, like, I'm pretty sure, I'll confirm it here for the next segment, but I'm pretty sure Miguel is also taller than Peter. So I think if they would have put him on the Daredevil body, I think that would have been like the dream scenario if they put this figure on the Daredevil body. Because I think right now, currently, still, I think that Daredevil is like the best articulated Mafex that I've had ever. But this is definitely really, really good, and I would say that it's definitely worth getting it and adding it to your collection, because so far this is the best 2099 on the market. I think the Mezco one is very um I would say you have to either really like Mezco or be okay with a lot of the issues that figure came with. I remember getting that figure. I pre-ordered it and everything, got it, and then like pretty much one of the first things I noticed was like my leg joint was popped out, and for a Mezco, it's like damn near impossible unless you know exactly how the joint works to pop that leg back in. And I remember like I heated it up and like would push the leg in. I wouldn't hear it click or nothing. So like pretty much the only thing that was keeping my leg in position that like I put it in was the actual material of the body itself. But this is like an amazing, like really, really good, really dynamic, really well done 2099. So if you're like hurting for a 2099, I think this is amazing. I think the fact that Rebel Tech announced the Batman Beyond, I think it's only a matter of time before we get a 2099 Spider-Man. And I really hope we do. And I hope we get like a more shiny finish. That's another thing, kind of right now while we're on it, is it does have like a little, slightly, very slightly different. The blue is like a definitely like a matte, um, like a just regular matte, and then the red part is like a little bit, almost like a little bit shinier. As you can see, like right here, it's capturing the light not as much, and then on the red, it's a little bit shiny. So I really like that. I think that's like one of the best things about this figure too. And I'm just gonna say, like, I think the photo, like how photogenic this figure is definitely a huge plus. Like the colors that they went with, and just overall everything that they've done with this figure, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful piece. Like that's really there's really not any more to say. It's not an amazingly, different figure, and it's not like super like amazingly engineered, but it has that like beautiful look to it. Like I don't really know how to describe it. Kind of like a piece of art. Like it just looks really good in pretty much whatever pose you put it in. But let's get into some size comparisons. Okay, and first up for size comparisons, here we got the Rebel Tech Arkham Knight Batman. Then we got the Rebel Tech Aaron Yeager, and then we have the Mafex Nightfall Bane. And I mean, if you have any of the Mafex Spider-Mans, you kind of know what you're getting into. I did go ahead and look it up, and according to the like Marvel comics database, this version, like the comic book version of Miguel O'Hara, is 5'10", which I'm pretty sure is the same height as Spider-Man. If anything, I think Peter Parker's like 5'11", so I don't know. So it's not the like huge tall one from Across the Spider-Verse that, pretty sure most people are very familiar with. That one's actually 6'9", so he would be pretty huge. But let's move on. Okay, moving on to what I believe is like kind of more important. As you can see, this is like the Spider Across the Spider-Verse version of 2099, and this one is 6'9", so it definitely is a lot. It's like almost an entire torso bigger than the Mafex one, but obviously two completely different styles, two completely different heights. And then here he is next to the only other official Mafex figure that I currently have. I did get rid of my other one, so this is the only one I have left. He does have a CT Toys head on it, so they're technically pretty much the same height. But I did want to say that I never even really noticed it beforehand, but this one, I don't know if how well it's picking it up, but you can tell this one's a lot more symmetrical and like kind of better sculpted, if you will. Whereas this one kind of has like a very small lower abdomen and then has like a bigger upper torso. So I don't know if that's just this figure or that's how it used to be designed, but I just wanted to annotate that. And then as well, here we have the Marvel Legends Secret Wars symbiote Spider-Man here to the right. And then real quick, just kind of to top it off, switch that. And then here is the SH Figure Arts Venom from the first one. It's not the Last Dance one. So, yep, there you go. Pretty good. Alright guys, but that pretty much concludes the video. Just kind of some final thoughts is, I said it like a little bit earlier that I'm actually pleasantly surprised with this release. I think that there's enough included with the figure that the dollar amount, this guy was about 75 on Hobby Link Japan with shipping. It's kind of give or take somewhere between $20 and $30 for shipping, depending which shipping service you use. So anywhere from 90 to 100, which is pretty average for like a full release Mafex figure. And like I said, I think overall it's the best Mafex Spider-Man, and that's just simply due to obviously technology is constantly improving, engineering is constantly evolving, and stuff like that. So, even though it's pretty similar, I do think that it's overall a little bit better. Just range wise, articulation, paint, like different differences in the paint finishes is really like um, something that it gets a lot of points for me personally. Whenever companies do stuff like that, and like I said, I think that the little web cape effects and then the interchangeable heads that he comes with, and then all the hand accessories and everything he comes with, overall, I think it's a very good package. And I definitely, like I said, I had to chew on my own words because I thought it was going to be a really bad release. I still wish they would have done a bulkier version of the comic book Spider-Man. But, for the meantime, hopefully Rebel gives us that. But for the meantime, Mafex is a really good, high-end 2099 if you don't like the movie version. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a good day. Peace.